Absolutely delighted to hear what he said, and I hope that it will be well received on both sides of the House. I thank him for what he said. I remind the House that there is a 5-minute limit on backbench contributions, but that limit is subject to review, and it's likely to be reviewed downwards and certainly not upwards. Mr. Gavin Barwell.
Mr. Speaker, I have the great honour of representing the town where I've lived all my life. There are thousands of public servants, businessmen, people that work in the community and voluntary sector who day by day do their best to make our town a better place to live. On Monday night, a few hundred people did their worst to undo all of that good work to attack our community. Shops, people's homes above the shops, burned out in Old Town, West Croydon and New Addington, including Reeves, an iconic family business that survived the Great Depression and the Blitz. Over 50 people forced from their homes, over 200 businesses devastated, our tram system put out of action. Let us be clear, there is no justification whatsoever for such organised criminality. Contrary to some reports, those responsible weren't all young, and they came from a very wide range of ethnic backgrounds. And let's be clear, they represent a tiny minority. The real Croydon is the public servants, the outnumbered police officers, the firemen who risk serious injury to protect people, the council officers the next morning who tried to house the homeless, the hundreds of people who turned up to clear our streets, the people that have pledged money to help businesses rebuild, the businesses that provided clothing for those who've lost everything in the fires, the people of New Addington who turned out to defend their shopping centre. Our town isn't perfect, but we are proud of it, and we are united in our determination that we will not let the wreckers win. What has happened over the last few days is a big test for this government. For too long in this country, we've been too soft on those who break the law and too tolerant of those who have no respect for other people. My constituents are looking for 4 things. First, to restore order. The Prime Minister came to Croydon on Tuesday and I'm deeply grateful. He promised extra police and different tactics, and he delivered on that. But those numbers and those tactics need to continue, and we need to know why they weren't in place on Monday. I also welcome what he said in the House in relation to fresh powers on curfews, on modern social network technology, and on powers for the police in relation to people that are covering their faces. Secondly, people want to see people brought to justice. CCTV played a crucial role in identifying who was responsible, and I hope the government front bench will take note on that point. They want to see people properly punished, to make reparation to those that they have damaged. They want people who have committed these crimes not to have access to taxpayers' money in the form of benefits. They want those who are council tenants evicted so that decent people who are waiting for a home get their home instead. And they want those who are not British citizens removed from this country. The third issue is in relation to compensation, and I very warmly welcome what the Prime Minister had to say in relation to compensation for residents and for businesses. And the fourth issue is trying to sort out the underlying issues that led to the behaviour that we saw. Just because there is absolutely no excuse for what happens does not mean we in this House should not try to understand what... I will give way once, I'm conscious of the time.
Well, gentlemen, he makes a very powerful speech on behalf of his constituents. Would he agree that the deployment of 16,000 officers in the capital meant that yobs were off the street, and the proposed plans of the government to cut police numbers will mean that yobbos will be on our streets?
Well, I want to see the level of visible policing continue. I recognise that we've got to cut police budgets because of the economic position we face, but I want to see the current level of visible policing continue. I can't give way because other people want to get in. On the issue of the long-term problems, I don't pretend to have all the answers. I had to go home on Tuesday night and explain to my 8-year-old son why people behave in this way. It seems to me a choice is being offered that this is either about morality or it's about poverty. And to me, actually, there is elements of both involved here. There is an issue about upbringing. Too many young people in my town are brought up in highly unstable environments without parental role models. Many parents feel they no longer have the power to discipline their children, and there are clear issues which the Secretary of State is trying to sort out in relation to discipline at school. But we have too many young people that don't have respect for other people or authority. They're very conscious of their rights, but not of their responsibilities to others. And sadly, in this great city of ours, there are people that are marginalised, that don't feel they have access to the huge opportunities that many Londoners do have. And we need to address all of these issues, however uncomfortable they are to those of us on the centre-right or on the centre-left of politics. We also need to recognise that I don't think it is a coincidence that these events took place in the summer holidays. We need to look at making sure that people have something productive to do with their life, even if they're out of school or they're out of work. I'm conscious of the time. I will give way once more.
Thank you. As my honourable friend will recall, I've got a faint recognition of Croydon Central. His second and fourth point actually unite. And one of the problems I recall is there is an aspect of the children that are feral children. It's all very well to talk about parenting, but in fact they have no parents of any value. And our conviction doesn't actually support keeping them out of crime.
I entirely agree with what my honourable friend has to say. There is a great charity in Croydon called Lives Not Knives that looks at helping people out of gang culture. Many of the former gang members you meet have come from backgrounds where there are no sort of parental role models at all. People unaccompanied asylum-seeking children that have been passed from foster home to foster home, people that have been abused in the care in which they're experiencing. So that is absolutely an issue. And finally, I think we need to look, I'm not sure if the Honourable Member for Nottingham North is in the House, but we've got to look at the issue of intervening earlier when young people are first showing signs of getting into difficulties, rather than waiting until there are real problems. Mr Deputy Speaker, my real hope is that something positive is going to come out of what has happened over the last few days. That we are going to see in this country not just measures for a few days to restore public order, but a completely fresh approach to how we tackle crime, to how we treat our young people, to how we interact with them, to how we bring them up, to how we listen to them and what they have to say, and to how we try and build a stronger, more cohesive society in this country. My constituents sent me a very clear message before I came to this House today. They are not looking for party political bickering, for squabbling, for point scoring. They are looking for members of this House to show some leadership, to look into what the underlying problems are, to restore order and to have a long-term solution. And I hope that all members of the House will be focused on exactly that point as we go forward in the debate. Thank you very much.
David Lammy.